Sandy Carlson. I'm Woodbury Poet Laureate, and I'm really delighted that we have such an amazing group of people on this rainy night after an incredibly oppressive day. Like, wow, we made it to now. It's awesome. Just want to announce a few little things before we get rolling. Our poetry group, the Orinoco Poetry Group, or a chapter of the Connecticut Poetry Society, we meet the third Saturday of the month, either at St. Paul's, if the weather's bad, thanks to Betty Lou Bowles, one of our members.
Thanks to St. Paul's office.
And yes, or in the Hollow at the Pavilion, and if something's going on and we get kicked off to the Pavilion, we're nearby. And but you're more than welcome to come once, check it out. You don't have to have anything formal or prepared. We kind of start at 9:15 because some people like 9, some people like 9:30, so we met in the middle. And we get started when we get started. And an awesome group of people, and you're welcome to join us anytime. And I just wanted to remind the world that we the library have a really lovely book here called From Art to Art that's still available for purchase. And this is poetry and art. It's ekphrastic poetry that was inspired by a year of art in our gallery here at Woodbury Public Library. The poets came, they wrote about it, we put the art and the poetry together with the blessing of the artists, and it's just a lovely, lovely collection. And sale of this book benefits the library. So if you're interested in a little souvenir of the amazing art that comes out of it. Oh, 20. 20. Yeah.
20?
Yes, and we have another book that we're doing a second run on called The Nature of Woodbury, which is a collection of art and poetry inspired by the natural beauty of this town. And there were 52 contributors, all different age ranges, a wide range of ages, I should say. It's a lovely collection. That'll be available probably in the next week. We're getting the second batch. Nice. All right, so our theme is Compared to a Summer's Day. And that's a riff on Shakespeare's Sonnet 18. And I thought I would just share that sonnet to get the ball rolling, and then we'll have our first featured poet read for us. Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease has all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. All right. Good old Shakespeare. I love that poem. I teach high school, and there's a high school kid on the planet who will tell you anything is better than a summer's day. So this one always kind of throws them. But then you read on and you realize what's even better than how beautiful you are is my poem, my William Shakespeare's poem. He had no problem with loving himself. Our first featured poet is Katie Baker. She works here at Woodbury Public Library, and she's the bright and shining face of this wonderful place. And she's featured in our book, The Nature of Woodbury, and here she is.
Thank you to Sandy for hosting these awesome events. We're so lucky to have her. So I wanted to start with one of my more favorite summer-themed poems that I did not write myself, but is written by a classic poet, Wallace Stevens. And the title is July Mountain. And it's a more abstract poem, so take from it what you will. We live in a constellation of patches and of pitches, not in a single word, in things well said, in music, on the piano, and in speech, as in a page of poetry, thinkers without final thoughts in an always incipient cosmos, the way when we climb a mountain, Vermont throws itself together. I just think that's a lovely poem. My next poem on the theme is sort of a love poem that I wrote in my young didn't want to say my young years, I'm still in them, but my teenage years, we'll say. It is untitled. We pull over to look at the sherbet-colored sky until it turns midnight blue, you and I, silhouettes of oak and maple at the edge of the field, my love for you living longer than elder trees, young as we ever could be. I sit atop your gold car, playing inside from a hand-me-down speaker, an artist who is living then and is dead now. Hand in adolescent hand, I look down at you, and I did not know how well I would remember this moment, and so many others like it. No one told me this is what living is for, and I can't recall a time where the sky looked like it did when I was just 15. I have two more poems to share for you. This is a different type of love poem, also untitled. Most of mine are. Be my salvation, O Mother Earth. Caress me with leaves on my face and ferns tickling my feet. My best friend and my one true love, you have given to me more than I can return. I merely sit on your surface like the blooming foliage that skims the surface of a motionless pond. You flow like foamy rivers into lakes. You are still like the marshes and swamps, loud like the cry of the kingfisher or the lullaby of little frogs on summer nights. You have given me the winds and the rain that blow by me, and the deer that cross me in the forest with their young, wobbly and spotted in the spring. I cannot return these gifts to you, so I shall return myself one day, so that I may become, as we were all meant to be, the soil beneath your skin. And this is my third untitled summer poem. The grasshoppers buzz like live wires in the short and tall grass. Daffodil corpses surround on hills. Turtles swim by in the deep of the pond. Murky water and duckweed scum act like closed curtains so we can't see. And the cattle lick their young on the hill while the green grows fast around them. Just as fast, the babes will become cows. And it is freezing in Antarctica, barely. The monstrous snow caps have been humbled to water. And the boulder we sit upon looks something like an iceberg too. Sweet summer air percolates through me. I love the taste, but even better with a friend. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks Katie. Our next featured poet is Davyne Verstandig, and she runs 2 open mics in Washington Depot. And Davyne, when you pop up here, would you tell us a little bit more about your bio? I know you've been a professor.
People can look it up.
They can look it up. You can look it up. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. DavyneVerstandig.com has the bio. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, and that is, I would appreciate it if people just remain silent after each poem. Basically because to me it's important that each poem be surrounded by an element of silence. Pink, white, deep purple blossoms, fragrant rain green and gray days, rain gray sadness. My eyes blur again like rain on a windshield wiper. I make decisions on what to spend my eye on. It rests on the green innocence of beginnings. There's a Japanese term called kintsugi, which is the Japanese art of putting pottery pieces back together with gold, and that's the title of the poem. Take my hand. What are you now? You I loved and believed you loved me. We are made for each other, we told ourselves. We were ripe for love. I filled your lap with violets, ripeness was all. Fold my hand in yours, remember me. The other morning I felt a stranger to myself, out of sync, disjointed. Some days I talk to no one but my cat. So strange, the language coming through failing ears, blurred vision becoming familiar, the haze of sight, the assault of voices. Clearer sight and hearing seem to belong to someone else. I stand more apart than ever in this silence. A sadness darkening, the scent of melancholy growing as the mask loosens. One evening when I was 10, I came downstairs from my bedroom to declare to my parents, mother doing needlepoint, father reading the Wall Street Journal, I am a poet. I read my poem, O Heavy Heart of Sadness, and my father barked, what the hell do you have to feel sad about? And my mother said, that was lovely, dear. Years later, she would tell me, be careful of your poems. My father, your father, burned mine. So ever on, I carry those voices. 70 years of scribbling, inking, cross-outs, looking for words before I lost them. The precise word each time I pen the ink, as the word blues onto a page, right word or wrong word. I root out words when they hide, betraying me in their concealment. Some days words falter, unsteady, inking themselves regardless. Other times they are fierce, bold even. And then I remember the Chinese poet Yang Wan. Get rid of words and meaning, and there is still poetry. When a poet dies, the possibility of words die too. Scratching paper to explain mysteries, to name the unnameable, pairing together words that dance or cajole or brighten, define. The poet lives inking the struggle and the juggle, the full weight of words. What is it about this remembering and forgetting happening inside each other, seconds, minutes apart? I remember a scene somewhere and then forget the details, but hungry for the whole memory. A bit of sadness emerges, knowing this is the heart letting go, clearing out one thing and another. Remember is feeling a heart thing, a glance, a summer sail, the scent of coconut oil sold in Coke bottles on the beach, the smell of rum in the warehouse, the sight of bougainvillea outlining the white linen tablecloth for dinner. My parents dressed formally, father in his white dinner jacket with medals pinned to the chest, mother in an evening gown carrying a small brocade purse. Remembering, the haze lifts, details emerge. Forgetting is not yet complete. Why those memories? I lift my pen and ask the morning light, why those? This is a manifesto. I shall make a covenant with silence and live as an anchoress on a wild island, a nun of my own order, and build a hermitage and live my days in the still moment of a turning tide. Free from the community of men and women, the vibration of all that is terrible and beautiful will carry me away from broken words. I will have no name, no weight. I will be helpless yet strong. I will be laid bare of will and shame, of ego and desire. And the wind will bathe me. There will be no wounds where I go. There will be no mirrors, no one to gaze at, no one and nothing to remember, no one and nothing to forget. There will be no spirals or circles or angles, no shadow, no shade, no sunlight nor darkness, no history, no fantasy. I will not hurt or be hurt. I shall make a covenant with silence and live as an anchoress on a wild island, a nun of my own order, and build a hermitage and live my days far from the community of men and women in the still moment of a turning tide. And on this wild isle, I will finally be without effort of being. This is called the Island of Lost Words. Yesterday, I lost the sky where it meets the ocean. No visible horizon line with its certainty, no distinction between wave and sky, no line of here and up there. A sea blizzard nearly knocked me over. Curling thunderous waves whack slabs of stone. Gulls tease with ease of flight, climbing aboard the wind. Far out, I see an island. I heard it is unpeopled. I cannot make the journey today, but soon, soon. Beyond the memory of yesterday's storm, the island is clearer now, real after all, more than a hopeful vision. She would hire a boat to take them, the luggage, her cat, and his carrier, provisions of water, wine and bread, empty journals, and bottles of ink. They would not stay long, she had a plan. On the island of lost words, she would see what she had lost, those gone words, longing for a place of their own, to be valued for each word's beauty and power. not strung together like a line of traffic. On this unpeopled island, no need to communicate. The glory of each lost word, a masterpiece. The glory, fierce as Van Gogh's brushstrokes, tender as a Wyeth, lonely as a Hopper. Those lost words only for her. Her cat knew her beyond words, and she him. They escaped the people world of envy and lies. She told him for many years there is a place of peace. Now found, they'd live out their days until the journals were filled and the ink bottles empty, the water, wine, and bread consumed. And then she would set in motion her plan. And the last poem is Compared to a Summer Day. Fires blaze across the land. Temperatures pass 100. Hurricanes with 8-foot waves and 180-mile winds. Tornadoes lifting towns, avalanches. Highways crumble in mudslides. Tsunami, shores erode, bridges collapse. Gaza, Ukraine, the Amazon, Iran, a kaleidoscope of addicting drugs killing people. More children die from gunshots than diseases here in America. A 14-year-old trans teen, Paulie Likens, dead and dismembered in Pennsylvania. Hate crimes abound here. Security guards pin down a black man outside a hotel, killing him. 2 old men vie to be our president. One a liar, supporting doing away with the Department of Education. Read Project 2025. An assassination attempt. The older, with a reputation of having served his country for years, passing important legislation. How do we navigate the press, social media, it too filled with lies? Can we believe what we see or hear or read? Is it all AI manipulated? And Lady Justice hides her eyes in shame. World poverty and starvation. 783 million people are going hungry. 44 million in the United States. 1 out of every 5 children. And as of May 2024, 120 million people have been displaced. 1 of every 69 people on the globe homeless. On this summer's day, I write this stream of poisons as my yard flourishes with green trees swaying a breeze, where tomato plants bear fruit beside the front door. I feed the birds and deer. At dusk, a possum and a raccoon come nightly to the door window, facing my cat, who is inside. Fireflies swarm just beyond the white rocking chair. Tiger lilies and Queen Anne's lace border the porch. A butterfly skims my window as I write these words. Christian nationalists support white supremacy. Where is the division of church and state? When I was 10, I pledged to the flag without the words "under God." Then Eisenhower signed a bill to insert it in June 1954. There is a nameless divine presence, invisible like the wind, with Mother Earth and Father Sky, whose stars light the night, whose clouds shield the sun, the moon a third eye, overwhelming me this summer's day. I am white and privileged in this house on a country dirt road. I am a woman who wants to control her body again, who doesn't want a woman to cross state lines for an abortion. I don't want a doctor to decide between operating on a pregnant woman in need or going to prison for operating. I want no more books banned or teachers fired or jailed. I am 4 months away from turning 80, 4 months away from this election day. The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. Will it be hope or fear that is elected? Let us feed the hungry and shelter the homeless, assuage pain, lift up those in poverty. Where there is prejudice and bigotry, sow compassion and understanding. Where there is ignorance and malice, sow grace and kindness. May guns be melted into farm tools. May bombs cease bursting the skies. May all beings know the gift of a peaceful summer's day. The whole world is watching us.
Well, thank you, Davyne, and thank you, Katie. Wow. So this is the time where we open up the floor for an open mic. Sometimes we do it Quaker style when people feel like they want to read. They just come on up and read. Any takers?
I want to say thank you to Davyne. Thank you so much. Wow. So, I wrote this poem the other day. It came to me on a visit to Costco. And it was inspired by Richard Rohr, who does meditations online as a daily meditation. Seeing God on my visit to Costco. Leaning against the table, I looked upon the sea of humans, tall and short, young and old, smiles and frowns, giggling girls and bouncing boys, tiring mothers and fathers, hungry for a moment of peace, hungry for a Costco hot dog. I saw each person, the blonde, bearded, and the bald. And before each and every person, an angel carrying a torch announced as it walked, "Behold, the image of God." And I beheld, seeing with new eyes. doing summer. Oh, this is one. I imagine being in your shoes, wherever we may be, enjoying the night sky, the beauty of the oak tree, the robin song. I imagine being in your shoes when the snows cover the ground, covers the muck of the gap between your world and mine. I imagine being in your shoes as a stranger sees you, his mind caught off guard, other whispers his mind. It is my deepest hope that the stranger will look again and see himself. For the beauty of this world enriches our spirits, enriches our connection to one another, helping us to know all people are equal members of our human family. This last part is the motto of Key West, and they have bumper stickers that you can get. They're handed out free, and I pass them out. We get some when we're down there, and so maybe I'll bring them here to the library the next time. People can help themselves. So I have one more that I'd like to find it. Oh, I want to read this one. This is called Ode to O.C. You are often courageous. You offer comfort and consolation. Your calm exterior costumes your champion of the weak. Chivalry still lives in the soul of your aged body. You are not submissive. You are not crude. You are not delicate. You stand and defend Althea and Maisel against all who do not come in peace. You do not forgive when you have been crossed, and sometimes you bite the hand that feeds you. You do not let Peter sleep when you deem it's time to get up. Peter is your human in his way, and I am your human in others. Peter always feeds you, and you accompany him down the stony driveway to get the newspaper in the morning and the mail midday. My lap is softer, which you welcome sometimes, with nails extended into my thinly covered flesh. And for the ear and neck scratching, you lean into my hand. Sometimes you lie with your head on my foot as I attempt to put on my socks and shoes. I reach down to give you the rub that makes you happy. Then you, in turn, rub my feet with your head to say thank you. You came to us so many years ago and waited to be invited in. You were patient, waiting for the right time to cross the threshold. We fed you and watched over you and made sure you had your rabies shot to keep us all safe. Then the day came and we opened the door and you stepped cautiously into the house. Caution had kept you alive. You looked at us and we heard you say, "Nice place. I'd like to stay, but it has to be on my terms." We agreed, and each day your presence and laughable antics have permeated our home. Delight reigned in our caring for each other.
I wrote this 30 years ago, and somebody's already heard this, but a friend just came back from a vacation, and when you have a friend who's a brother, it's soul to soul. It's called Vapor Trails. Excuse me. Last week, you and I both thought about vapor trails. Right around the same time, I saw a giant tic-tac-toe, a puzzle in this. You saw a brilliant streak toward the west. We talked, you and I, about the things we do and the things we don't do. The things we're too old to do. That list grows. I can remember every conversation we ever had, the ones that count anyway. I think I'm bad at sharing sometimes. I think I'm bad at sharing bad times. Does that make me a bad friend? I tell Nikki that I tell you that I write to Nikki about the bad times. You wonder if Nikki thinks that I'm always depressed. Maybe she does. Nikki reports from her snowbound cabin that exterior life is bullshit. It's the life of the spirit that matters. She suggests that I plant narcissus bulbs. I wonder if she means that I should plant them in my soul. No matter, I plant them both ways. We talk, you and I, about obsessions, depressions, relationships. I never tell you that I'm afraid I could lose you. I remember when I thought in Arizona you'd fallen into a canyon. At first, I thought of all the practical stuff, calling for help, calling your parents. On my third walk back to the lodge, I felt the real fear. You gone. It was much later I thought about how we are each other's historians, how much we worry, how much we know, how much we're family, how much I worry when you travel. Last week, you and I both thought about vapor trails right around the same time. I saw a giant tic-tac-toe puzzle in the sky. My life is at a crossroad. You saw a brilliant streak towards the west. You're in New Zealand. Today, after I write to Nikki, I walk in the snow and I look at the sky. One vapor trail blazes white against the blue. It shoots across the sky from the bulb that was planted in my soul.
So I'm Dave. I live in Woodbury. I grew up in Danbury, Connecticut in the 60s and 70s, and in many ways that totally shaped who I am, and it's hard to explain what that means, but I know what it means. But so I just thought I'd bring a couple of poems. I haven't read in front of somebody probably in 30 years, so but this is a more recent poem than that. This is the cold water that makes my knuckles ache, like they did when I waited for you in the snow. Amber brown on these submerged rocks is the color of your eyes just after dawn seeped into our room on spring mornings. The earth scent in my nostrils as I rest my head on this moss is the way your hair smelled when you came inside from the garden. The leaf in my hand, a twin of the one you showed me on Thanksgiving in your parents' backyard. It is out here, alone under the black birch, white pine and shining golden beach, beside this little stream where no one will notice when they walk by on the trail, if I keep quiet. Here, settled among blue and white asters, on a bed of leaves pushed together to lie on. It is here I remember these moments I lived for, reaching down into the water for a crayfish before it darts under the rocks. I never meant to catch it anyway. And then I wrote a sonnet. So I thought I would kind of do my own. It's a much lighter version of a sonnet than Shakespeare. If anybody is a fan of Greek myth, I kind of cite some Greek myths. Hephaestus' furnace roars throughout the summer. Zeus has loosed his bolts with great panache. Demeter's robes of green do so become her, but through Poseidon's floods we all must slosh. Their whims and petulance we can't forfend. It's best we are not privy to the reasons, for most we would be hard-pressed to defend. But with the thunderstorms come irrigation, and with the baking sun come verdant plains. We abide a torrent and a conflagration in trade for azure skies and gentle rains. She is a curse and blessing altogether, our mistress fickle called New England summer.
Isn't this a lovely and temperate day today? How perfect is that, right? Anyway, thank you. It's the first time I ever read out loud out of my poems, so thank you for bearing with me. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. What is in a summer day? Waking up early, opening the windows, hoping for the comfort of the morning cool breeze, slowly enjoying the first cup of coffee on the porch, looking out into the garden. What is blooming today? What needs my care? The sparrows already busy nibbling on the rosebuds and splashing in the bird bath ignore me. The chatty wren admonishes me as I hold my breath so that the hummingbird, dashing from bloom to bloom, won't sense my presence and dart away. But she always does, reminding me how fleeting joy can be. I linger for a while, daydreaming. Eventually, I step into the day and all that awaits me. Lovely and temperate is what we all wish for, but summer days, full of surprises they are, and not always pleasant. We can never know how the season will unfold, her mood, lovely and temperate, and also melancholic, dark, and wrathful. She can be defiant, temperamental, like a willful woman, whose nature will not obey the expectations that rise and fall in another's mind. There are days of quiet solace and full circle moments when whispers of playful memories meet me, a child's delight in the simple abundance of a summer day by the sea. And there are days when the intensity of a summer storm looming makes the air stifling and I can't breathe. I don't know what the lesson is other than the obvious. Lovely and temperate is what we wish for, what we hope for, in a summer day, in the other, in ourselves, in our journey. Our days, like a summer day, are laced with unforeseen storms, confusion and heartbreak, but also with moments of wonder and joy, warmth, delight, and amazement.
My name's Amanda. Uncontained. We slip around in a new primordial soup, like frog spawn, like eggs, new life suspended. We seek out what will come next with the weight of ballast to propel us. In and out, we navigate time, forgetting and then becoming our uncontained selves. March in place and out of. Each day we live and die again. Inside ourselves we move, as silken as we once were, a heart pulsing blood through a body, a skin hued and boundless, transcending to an outer life, reaching to trees, city, sky, attention holding us in step, a dream moving us forward. Hawk. It wasn't the commotion of wings, the muscling out, counterbalance of silvery bass, or the surging up, the spiraled gliding wind beyond the pond, or the intention circling out concentric infinities, the other kind of knowing. It wasn't the watchful foot, unblinking force contained by pensive oak. It was the practiced eye, the hold of talon, wing, and tail, unyielding regard. And last, this is rest. Bravery has no place here, nor shame. You'll not find them in the jumble. We are tired and can only clear one step. There is rain, though, to soften the edges, to pause the force of brilliance. We can rest, take a break and hide from inspiration. Find a thing you don't know, glimmer in the rubble, and pocket it. The thick air fell in the night, and now we are underwater. A crow call slices through. Drawn to the light in the window, 3 tree frogs pause their climb. I peel them off foot by foot. They are tender, holding fast, breathing in the scent of basil, an image of tenacity. In winter, they freeze their bodies, stop their heart to survive the cold, then thaw, recover, and sing the season in. No bravery, no shame, a cycle, a rest, a song, and the dawn.
I'm new at this. I wrote this last Sunday. Can you hear me?
No.
A jolting redirection, shifting vision, blindsiding the norm, catches all of us off guard. Holding the rail, though feet are firm, we walk forward, nevertheless, split into factions of protest or distress. We are a multitudinous family, mesmerized at the wonder of events and the trauma of it all. There is, however, a light somewhere guiding the soul who seeks it, that will cast a glow on a path of truth for those souls that truly care.
Good evening, my name is Scott Moore. Sandy, thank you for this opportunity. If you've ever wondered how you compare Summer's Day with Lady Liberty, this poem's for you. I wrote this poem for this evening, and in thinking through my law career, what event I could compare to a summer's day. And in a previous poem I wrote about Black Robe was a judge who stayed with me through all of my career. And this poem is about another judge, and I can only think of at the moment 2 that stayed with me through all my career, and this is the other one. The setting is a tall building in Lower Manhattan. It's an appellate court in the federal court system. And at the time, the main courthouse was being renovated, and these court hearings were being held in a different, tall, high-rise courthouse. And as a lawyer, you deal with statistics and figures about, if I appeal this case, what's the chance I'm going to win on appeal? Well, you can't be too optimistic, because the statistics are roughly 3% get overturned on appeal. So you walk in as a lawyer to an appellate court with that statistic facing you. And if you represent an Indian, the statistic's even worse. So this event is a judge compared to a summer's day. And this judge is now sitting on the U.S. Supreme Court. The unpopular Indian case is called. It feels cold, like a winter's day. The walk alone to the appellate court's lectern from the middle of the crowd of seated attorneys waiting in the cavernous courtroom to be heard, was a long walk on a thick red, white, and blue carpet with an elegant monarchical pattern. The long walk alone, but not lonely, was through cold and snowy woods. The long walk alone, the adversary, the government lawyer from Washington, surprisingly a no-show. The long walk alone, slow and measured in the hush. The long walk alone, in deafening silence. The long walk alone, among the stairs of still and barren trees. The long walk alone, in the dripping, palpable woods. Arriving in the woods clearing, there are 3 judges, 2 in person, 1 by video screen, all in black. The chief judge in the center is Sonia Sotomayor. In a wild shock of black hair, busily scribbling on a notepad in eager countenance, her head bobbing up at counsel and down scribbling. The green light goes on, signaling the time limit begins. With no adversary present, the planned argument is scrapped. The traditional, "May it please the court," is followed by the most abbreviated argument, to the judge's facial surprise, finishing well before the yellow light would flash. The dark and cool of winter suddenly melts away, giving way to the bright, warm joy of a summer's day with the winning sign. Sotomayor eagerly throws up her head from her notepad and exclaims, "Mr. Moore, what can we do for you?"
It's with Dutch courage that I appear here before you, and may it please the audience, if not the court of public opinion. I'm Davyne Verstandig, and I'm not a poet. I'm a retired international banker and many other things, and I'm on the board of directors of the Connecticut Port Authority. I only say all that because I'm not a poet, although I've, for my own amusement, I've written 63 poems, ever published, and I've written an essay on what poetry is, the nature of poetry, and how to write it. So, having said all that, I'm going to declaim a poem. Oh, and one other thing. Miss Baker and I share an enthusiasm with the poet about the poetry of Wallace Stevens, which we discuss frequently. And in fact, two of my 63 poems are about Wallace Stevens, but I'm not going to declaim them tonight. So I'm going to read a poem called August. Summer, right? August, the month named by and for himself, Augustus Imperator Romani. August is then, observedly, the triumphal month of the 12, the emperor month. It bears the lush bounty, the ripe sumptuous harvest of the plantings of April, the cruelest month, as once said by another poet. Planted faithfully and hopefully on Plough Monday, after Easter Sunday, in the temperate regions. Notice in August that the meadows bear their abundance of wildflowers, of chicory, Queen Anne's lace, loosestrife, lupine, goldenrod, and tiger lilies, all without obvious effort. Their appearance does not depend upon the exploitation of market inefficiencies. August is the month of too much, like a sweet ripened peach, before the whispers of the gentle autumnal breeze removes it all, before we can consume it all. Thank you.
Been a great night. I love the blending of topics and perspectives, and I just love what you all bring to these poetry conversations, and I'm grateful for you for being here. I picked the theme, and now I'm going to cheat on my own theme and read a poem that's about the spring. Every spring we have those difficult neighbors, the Canada geese. When they do that walk along the edge of the road, I really admire their, I'm here, you know, and what are you going to do about it? And they really undermine our sense of our own importance. You know, you got to get somewhere fast, but no, you got to wait for the geese to cross the road. It's pretty tremendous. Now this is called We Do What We Can. Living close to the edge, Canada geese are invisible in pre-dawn light, except to the expectant eyes of other pre-dawn travelers who know there are young here. They come ashore to eat, grooming the lawn as they wander, parents shepherding their young away from the road until it is time to return to the water. It's good to be reminded of what matters, how to stop for the young, to be their shelter day after day, to watch them grow through the blasting cold of early spring, to arrive at the frank warmth of now. They did not choose to be here. They are here nevertheless. We are theirs. They are ours. You are free to drive on after they cross the road to face snapping turtles with one parent at the bow, one at the aft of the feathered family ship, navigating hunger and other monsters. The world is what it is. We do what we can. And there's the reference to Greek mythology and having a poet here who can trace a connection to Greece. I was thinking about the theme summer and the poem Ithaca by Constantine Cavafy. Cavafy lived in the late 19th century and the 20th century, and finally his location is being honored in Egypt. Constantine Cavafy was gay and didn't seek the limelight in his time. He wanted to do his poetry and be the friend to the writers that he was, without the aggravation that the scandal of its time would have created for him. And finally the world is catching up with the marvels of this guy. And he has a great sense of humor. If you go to the Poetry Foundation and search him up, you'll see. But there's a poem I use when I introduce mythology to my freshmen, and it's his poem Ithaca. And it's a beautiful poem, and search it up on YouTube. Sean Connery reads it with music by Vangelis, and it will just take you out of here. It's beautiful. And it always kind of bamboozles my students a little bit because it's a poem about being happy, and they never expect that to happen in English class, you know, so. And the mythology unit is the most fun and spirited stuff. But this is Ithaca. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Laestrygonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Laestrygonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can, and may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for, but don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you've gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you'll have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight.